And now, you're tuned in to RBLR, the home of Tampa Bay's RBLR Sports.
Welcome into RBLR Sports. My name is Musab, and another weekend down in the books for some Tampa Bay football. Rather interesting, intense, honestly, edge of the seat kind of Sunday for us fans. But hey, I'll tell you this though, here's to a fun episode tonight. And tonight I am accompanied by the one and only, my partner in crime is back. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for Stefan. Stefan, how are we doing this fine evening?
We're doing good. We're doing good. That was definitely a crazy win, but hey, hopefully a defining moment for us. And I'm happy to be back and talk some shop. And here we go. I mean, the playoffs are only 2 weeks away now, and we're already locked and loaded for that. So I'm excited for this week. You know, we get a chance to move up there in the standings, so it should be a good one.
Yeah, I can't believe this is it. This is our last regular season game. So, yeah, a lot of emotions kind of low key going through my head right now. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, oh snap, this is our last regular season game. Because after this, it's time to get into it. And speaking of getting into it, fans, listeners, if you're getting into it with RBLR, you're loving us. If you could do us a favor, and however you're listening to this, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, there's probably a follow button, a like button, or a subscribe button. But also, we are on social media platforms at RBLR Sports. All right. Well, another chapter down in the books, and we got a lot to go over. Honestly, this was a roller coaster of emotions. But overall thoughts, you woke up Monday morning, or honestly, even you head back from the bar Sunday evening, and what's going on in your head, Stefan?
Well, to be honest, it was a little frustrating. It was a slow start, Musab. I didn't really appreciate that much. But great teams, like we always say, find a way to win. And I think that that this might be a defining moment for the Bucs based on everything that went down. We had the AB fiasco. We had a lot of players get hurt running back wise, and had some dumb penalties in the middle there. And we still find a way down 14 to win a game away. So I'll take it. I think this might be that defining moment, Musab, sort of like last year that game in Atlanta where we came back after the half. So it was fun to watch as a fan too. So it was exciting. What are your thoughts?
Well, my immediate thoughts right after the game was, all right, I'm just gonna run away from here and just take the win and go back home and call it a night or whatever. But afterwards, I said, listen. At first, I was like, ooh, wait, the Jets. But then I was like, you know what? To me, with all the circumstances we're dealing with right now, everything that happened, even during the game, um, to be able to kind of just keep on fighting, I just felt like maybe we were just thrown off. It was an interesting game for our defense, but I gotta say this though, Stefan. What a performance by Tom Brady. I mean, on Sunday with a 4 point lead by the Jets, what, Buddy's got 2 minutes left, no timeouts, plenty of time for him, and all he needed was 93 yards, all right, between the ball and the touchdown, and he did it. So, I don't know, uh, to me, this was the GOAT moment. I was actually watching the game, and as soon as he racked up that touchdown, they panned it on to some Jets fans, and there was like this young Jets fan looking at the father or older Jets fan, and the other guy was like, that's Tom Brady for you," and then the young guy was like, "OMG." So this is why he's a go. So that's how it was at the sports bar I was at. Some people were thinking, "OMG, wow, well he still got it," and then some people there were thinking, "Hey, that's Tom Brady for you." So to come back and win this game was amazing. And yeah, I'm gonna run away with the win. That's all we really needed. It was an interesting game. I know we're gonna dig deep into it right now, but for me, I kind of just ran away with it. With all the circumstances that I mentioned. So that's really about it for me. But hey, let's get into it right now, Stefan. The first thing I kind of want to go over is, yes, we had our slips. For some reason, the running backs took advantage of us. But I have to say, I mean, I don't know. I found the defense pretty solid, especially in the second half, especially when we really needed it towards that last drive of the Jets, where the running back was mad near the end zone. Luckily, we got him down, and We were able to stop them. So that was a huge, huge effort on our defense to kind of close out and give us the opportunity to, rack up a touchdown and win. But for me, just with everything we're dealing with, I do want to give a shout out to the Bucs defense. They closed it out real well. So I don't know. I mean, what do you think? For me, it was 50-50. I could argue that, but I'm going to put them on our good side. What do you think, Stefan?
Yeah, Phil, that's a good point. We could probably argue both sides of it, but I think allowing only 7 points in the second half after we started that atrocious in those first two drives, I would put them in the good segment. And give a shout out there to Joe Tryon with that last tackle. And Vita Vea right up the middle to be able to, give the ball to Tom Brady back and be able to score. I thought once we stopped them, we were going to win the game because it was such a big play. I mean, if they get it, practically the game's over. And, Joe Tryon came from the edge and Vita Vea through the middle. And it was fun to watch. It was exciting. I think they deserve to be on the good side just because of that, that performance in the second half, only allowing 7 points after, they moved the ball with ease those first two drives. So way to adjust by Todd Bowles and also cut him some slack that, Sean Murphy Bunting and Jamel Dean had issues getting into the stadium. So that didn't help our cause in the early start there as well. But I think they deserve to be in a good segment as well.
Yeah, that was also a big throw off with those two guys coming in low key later, just right before the game. To to know about the kind of 411. I kind of looked up on what exactly happened, and they missed a flight, and they apparently made a stop to Canada or something like that.
Yeah.
So super crazy, but yeah, I mean, I think yeah, I think we can both agree that with what we have and with what was going on. I do want to transition onto the next point because I want to connect this with Tom Brady. All right, Tom Brady's on my good side. I already gave him a huge shout out, but I just want to say this to kind of to be dealing with all that happened during the game with the Antonio Brown and all the injuries. You got your backups and all that. To see Tom Brady kind of fight through all that and still succeed, it was kind of a depleted supporting cast, and he wasn't even phased at all, by AB leaving halfway, seeing the Jets, actually become a little better. Like, oh wow, they're a lot better than anyone thought. They improved a lot from the beginning of the season. I think everyone can say that for sure. But every single opponent of ours, being the goat that he is, they study Tom Brady down to the T, and none of it phased Tom Brady to mount a comeback. All right. So for me, this was kind of like my little goat moment. That comeback story. This one, I was literally thinking, "Oh my God, are we really gonna lose to the Jets?" But Mr. Superman came through, and I just don't think it cannot be overstated how valuable a mindset like Tom Brady has. Losing a core piece to your offense, Stefan, because he quit, and to not let that phase you, that's insane. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it was first of all, I mean, to go a little bit back to that, it was insane when Antonio Brown quit, we were down 14, and while the offense is out on the field, he's running shirtless, piecing out the crowd and stuff. It was sort of bizarre. I thought it was a fan for a second, but going back to Brady, that was incredible. And the poise, Musab, we get the ball back 93 yards. We got to go 93 yards to score a touchdown, no timeouts. And he looks so calm. It was incredible. I was rushing in my living room like, come on, dude, we never spiked it either. It was really incredible to see him operating under those circumstances. And he didn't even look for Mike or Gronk once. It was, I believe it was Tyler Johnson. And then we all know what happened at the end there with Grayson. But it was just unbelievable to watch. That's why you go and, you unfortunately don't sign Jameis and you go get the GOAT for moments like that. And he showed up when we had to. And it was a great drive. It was probably the most impressive drive that I've seen this year, with all the circumstances when it came to the Bucs. It was incredible.
I'm right there with you. Tom Brady had a show, and as calm as he was in that last drive, I'm sure some other guys had to be calm as well. And those are the depth pieces. Big shout out to the depth pieces, Buccaneers. First one I want to say is Grayson. Okay, the game-winning touchdown. All right, and just racking up what 81 yards. All right. Um, Stefan, I'll say this with Grayson, Perryman, Tyler Johnson, to see these guys on the stat sheet and to rack up more than just your little basic 8 to 10 yards just because, they got in one or two, plays, to see them, kind of put up a dogfight. Not even that. They did well. To me, and I know we have them on our good side, Stefan, but I think that I wouldn't put any blame or much blame at all with the offense. We did the best we could with what we had. Look, Gronkowski, Grayson, Johnson, Evans, Perriman, Le'Veon Bell, and then Antonio Brown also leaving halfway. That threw everyone off. You know, these kind of things. The fact that even the other depth pieces didn't get phased by Antonio Brown. If anyone, you're looking at him saying, "Hey, AB, you did pretty solid last game. I'm gonna need you to do it again. We're counting on you. We got a lot of kind of key pieces out right now with everything, COVID injuries, et cetera, et cetera." And to have all this happen, to have these depth pieces, still shine. Um, I will say the rushing game we did solid, I guess. Racked up, with about 60 yards. I think the rushing game was obviously different, but the receiving game was amazing. Tom Brady was looking good because these depth pieces, I think, also stepped up to the plate. So the depth piece Tom Brady connection to me was absolutely amazing. I want to give an A+ performance to everyone on the offense. I'm really happy with everything. Sure, we had our dinks and doinks here and there, Stefan, but to see the depth pieces and Tom Brady work well together, this was, I guess, a test for the backups or the people kind of in the shadows, and they did well. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. We should give definitely a shout out first to, Cyril Grayson's been on an incredible streak. It's kind of surreal to see what this guy's doing, right? Another 81 yards and another game, and a game winner. Shout out to Tyler Johnson as well. He had a big drop in the first half in the red zone that Brady wasn't happy about. He went right back to him in that last drive to get us first down and eventually win the game. Also, a big shout out to Brashard Perriman. Came in there later in the game, made two big catches, and Le'Veon Bell even Musab. He came. When we had Vaughn go out, we had Rojo go out. He came in there, pass protected well for Brady. Then he scored in that 2-point conversion. He ran the ball for 30 yards. He looked pretty good. So and he caught the pass, which is catching out of the backfield for Le'Veon is, that's why he's probably there. He's got great hands. I used to see him a lot when I used to live in the Berg, and I'm excited to see what he can do once he gets to learn the playbook a little bit more. Might have to play a lot on Sunday if Rojo and Keyshawn Vaughn can't go. So, again, credit to the team and all these guys for being ready to go. Gronk had a monster day, but if you go down the line, the other guys are all, Mike had a decent day, but the other guys are all guys that we probably wouldn't have counted on to start the year. And now they're big pieces like Grayson, Johnson, Perriman wasn't even on the roster, or Le'Veon. So it was just credit for them, being ready. And like Brady said in the press conference, it's not about being ready. It's about taking advantage of the opportunities. And they have. They looked really good.
Great minds think alike, Stefan. I'm right there with you. I really am, because you're right. You are absolutely right. To see this roster, thinking that we're gonna have a guy like Perriman on our team right now, Grayson's gonna be relevant. Tyler Johnson, racking up yards. Le'Veon Bell is on our team now. This is what's going on. To think that we were able to acquire these players kind of just out of nowhere, or the circumstances going on throughout this whole season, and making the best out of it. A lot of these guys, this is, I don't mean to put them down, honestly, Stefan, but this was kind of what everyone was hoping that would immediately happen from someone like Richard Sherman is, oh, okay, hey, well, we just got this guy like, oh, out of nowhere. Okay, hey, can you at least do a solid job? Obviously, hey, listen, we're not picking you up because you need to be all sunshine and rainbows and rack up like 150 yards, but help us out, can you? And that's what these guys have been doing. So, I'll stop praising them, but I definitely want to give a really big shout out, listeners, fans. You can look at all the stat sheets in the past, and then you look at this one, and it just raises your eyebrow, and it's just to see that, hey, we're making the best out of it. So these kind of small things, Stefan, keep me optimistic. But on the other hand, some things do not make me optimistic at times, Stefan, and I'm sure you can relate to some of these or maybe all these. Um, the first thing for me, Stefan, was just nobody, including me, was ready for a start like that by the Jets. They came off to a pretty hot start, and to see kind of the way they racked up that touchdown was rather odd as well. I was like, what the heck? What's going on right now? Because we are one of the most dominant, rushing defenses. And to see this happen, I mean, this with Braxton Berrios rushing for a score on their first drive, and then we responded, but then again Berrios a receiving touchdown, then that interception, then the 51-yard field goal, kept on grinding it out. All right, with all these kind of runs, you look at the stat sheet, and uh, they got three guys who got a little bit of action: Michael Carter, Austin Walter, Ty Johnson, who also was about to go for a game-winning touchdown as well, or a game-sealing win touchdown, but luckily we stopped him. But yeah, to see these three guys, what, 35 yards, 49 yards, 54 yards, Stefan, I wasn't really satisfied, and it's just because, again, I don't want to keep on just, only focusing on this stat sheet, but at least lineup wise, Stefan, our lineup did not look like the lineup to give up 150 yards rushing. What do you think of that?
I completely agree. I mean, the start was very odd. I mean, the Jets got exactly what they wanted, right? I mean, they usually teams defer the ball against the Bucs to try to get that first stop on Brady and the boys, and they wanted the ball and they went down and scored with ease. It was kind of weird. I would probably say that it's probably had to do a lot with Shaq and JPP not being there. I mean, I know Anthony Nelson played really well, and you still have Joe Tryon, but I mean, it's not the same. Those guys are good, and they're gonna be eventually really good, but that's not JPP or Shaq, and especially Shaq, who had been playing at a high level, and also no Levante David in the middle. So maybe people are not as afraid to run it against us when they see all those guys down, and especially I thought, Musab, that Devin White and Kevin Minter had a game to forget. It was not good. I mean, 5 total tackles between both of them, that's not good. So, that all contributed to, but I didn't like it either. I mean, 150 yards is pretty unacceptable. I mean, playoff game, we probably lose to a good team if they're able to run 150 yards down our throat. So I didn't appreciate that either, Musab.
I mean, I'll say this, Stefan. We got lucky because it's times like these, Stefan, that special teams is important, aka Ryan Suckup. All right, now just imagine we had some horrible kicker and he missed maybe one or two field goals. Then we're in serious trouble and we probably can't win the game anymore. So that was just a little side note because of what we are dealing with right now. And it's always like something is just off for no reason. But then again, you're saying JPP, Shaq bared out, and then I guess maybe this was the game that it was bound to happen between, I guess, D White and Kevin Mintner, and that was, the dry spell kind of game, I guess. So perhaps this was a good wake up call just because, hey, we got away with the win. But yeah, overall, I'm not satisfied, and the only thing to me is just to see this kind of happen throughout the whole game, especially from the start, to see a start like that. And then fortunately, Mike Evans calmed me down because he went off immediately right afterwards. But super interesting just to see them kind of grind it out. And I'm also thinking, with JPP, Shaq Barrett out, and just with everything else that we've been dealing with, that every team has been dealing with, especially with COVID and all that. Uh, you don't want to exhaust your defense, right? So that's kind of the impression I was getting at times. They were kind of grinding it out. I have to give respect to the Jets. They've been maturing, especially Wilson, their quarterback, doing a little bit better. Lack of pressure there for sure. So, when there's lack of pressure all around here, there for a variety of things, then um, they might find some hole and take advantage of it, and call it luck or call it just good execution. But we just weren't ready at all, and I guess that was a kind of disappointing factor for me. Second half was interesting, especially towards the end. Again, really, really happy with kind of the outcome, but this was really, really scary till the end. It's one thing to kind of be played around, toyed around, in the first half, but to not change the gears, to not change the whole pace, to still allow maybe something to happen, Stefan, for the Jets in the fourth quarter, these kind of things become a little concerning. And I only say this because we're getting closer and closer. In fact, we're very, very close to playoffs. So um, we got to be ready because things are gonna pop up, Stefan. They are bound to with the circumstances going on in our world, aka COVID, and then also with football, there are injuries. So with injuries and COVID, things are bound to happen for every single one of these playoff teams, aka us as well. So for that reason, this was a wake up call for our defense, for our backups to say, hey, listen, all right, yeah, I guess you did solid, or hey, good plays here and there, but you got to remember that this is the Jets we're talking about. This should have been a lot more of a better performance by our defense, especially our run defense. So I don't know.
I also have to say that Musab for that. Teams when like the Jets are 4-12 or whatever they were at that moment. They're out of it. They start opening the playbook, right? We saw all those reverses, all those what if they want to call it again a jet special and stuff. That normally wouldn't happen if people don't tend to open the playbook like that, and it worked. I mean, it didn't look like we were ready for it. Again, they have nothing to lose, so it's easy to do that in that scenario. I was surprised we didn't see a fake punt or anything like that. So, that also impacted that and us have being down a few players. And your biggest point, I do agree with, though. One sack, Musab, that's not enough. And then any one of these quarterbacks in the NFL, you give them time, they'll find someone open. So, and he looked good. I mean, to his credit, he looked really good.
The way I see it is just that we were rather oddly outplayed at times, or crucial times by the Jets. The Jets, we got outrushed, all right, 150 to 62. And then kind of even just with the whole situation with AB, I feel like that still did some kind of thing for us. Um, but then again, I really think that the emphasis has to be on just the fact that they were able to kind of keep on grinding yards over and over again. They were grinding it out, keep on racking these first downs here, there, everywhere. So I don't know. I felt like we were showing these like signs of frustration. All right, for example, now just imagine we're going against a real hot team. All right, and we really can't afford to just screw around. Now, what happens early on in the second half is Ryan Jensen and Ali Marpet rack up a back-to-back penalties. So I don't know. We're coming into the second half like behind. These little things like the signs of frustration, these penalties that are popping up. We're already being outplayed. These things kind of are affecting us, at least early on or throughout the game until the end. I feel like for Tom Brady and the rest of the guys, the last 5 minutes, or especially when we stopped them with like what 2 minutes left. I mean, that was go time. That was Brady saying, "Listen, we are still in this. We got this. This is ours." But before all that, I think we were outplayed. They were playing with us. It was a rather surprising dogfight to see this between the New York Jets and the Super Bowl champions, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So, I mean, that's probably like the last big thing for me is just the lack of pressure. We were outplayed overall. The rushing really kind of annoyed me a lot. So these kind of things, I guess overall, I guess I don't want to put it too much on the defense, but then again, I mean, it really is all the defense. And to put it up to your point, I mean, yeah, JPP and Shaq Barrett out, but then again, this is time more than ever for someone like me who is saying that my Defensive Player of the Year candidate is Mr. Devin White to step up to do something. But for him and Devin Mintner to, I don't know, not really do anything or barely anything. What do you
Yeah,
think of that, Stefan?
yeah, I would agree. That was pretty. Probably their poorest performance of the year. And Kevin Minter looked like he was running in sand. It was very odd. So hopefully, they'll play better this week and going into the playoffs. Hopefully, we get Levante David back, and we know how it looks like when Levante and Devin are both out there. So I'm really hoping he's ready to go for the playoffs.
Yeah, I guess maybe it just happens, and this has been a very interesting season, especially with COVID. I don't want to keep on, bringing up the whole COVID thing, but it's like honestly every single day, your favorite player is out with COVID or something. Someone is out with COVID, basketball, football, tennis. So, with everything that's been going on, I guess it makes sense, or these things are bound to pop up. But I do want to know though, Stefan, I gotta ask, with no matter what we have been dealing with, right? Would you at least say that it was rather embarrassing to let them put up a fight with us, or to let them go strong?
Um, yeah, man, I would say the first two drives on our defense were pretty embarrassing. They went down and they went down and scored however they pleased. Musabe was kind of like, whatever, we'll wake up eventually, but it didn't look good. And the offense, the offense played well overall. I mean, I think the AB scenario threw it off for a little bit, but besides that, when we got to the red zone, we scored. We had the one interception, but that was about it. I mean, I thought the offense did well. I mean, we almost put 30 on the board, and our defense didn't have any turnovers. So, that was all the offense, those points. So, 30 on the board away should always do it, in my opinion. So I thought the offense was good, but the defense, those first two drives, very unacceptable.
Yeah, I mean, I just thought that this was a rather odd game. You always want to be happy with the win or something, but this kind of win, I'm obviously very thankful and always happy with the win. But no way in hell did I want to pull up to work, walking around like I'm the king of the world with a win like that. That was more like, when you walk into work, everyone's saying, "Oh, Musab, you better be thankful you have Tom Brady as your quarterback." And I'm like, absolutely.
Oh,
Honestly, that's kind of the way I was thinking about it. Was to see them put up a dogfight like this was rather interesting and a little concerning. But honestly, I feel like every week is a different week. This has been an interesting season for all NFL teams, Stefan. I feel like there's really like not like one or two just extremely dominant NFL teams. Everyone's been losing. It's like what the Cardinals lost to the Lions. Who would have ever thought, these kind of losses or pop up? So it's interesting, but then again, with what we have, I don't think we should have let them. But the last thing I do want to talk about in regards to this game, and we're gonna go on to the optimistic wing, all right, and that is our RBLR moment. Stefan, what was something that you enjoyed seeing? I mean, good, bad, something as a fan that made you smile.
honestly, I gotta go with Mike Evans back on the field. I'm really pulling from. I don't want him to get hurt, but I would love to see him get that. Get those 1,000 yards again, so he can continue his streak of starting a career with, um, his first 8 years with 1,000 yards. I mean, that would be incredible. I believe he needs around 50 yards, Musab, this upcoming week, and be a hard record to break, I think. And he would technically do it in 16 games, Musab, because he didn't play one. So that would be really awesome if he could pull it off. But seeing him back on the field and being able to get half of those yards in that game, big catches on by the sideline too. It was awesome just to have him back out there, especially with how depleted we are now in that room.
Well, I agree with you. It was always nice seeing Mike Evans back, but for me, I've been talking about him a lot this episode, but I feel kind of the same way, actually a little bit of the father and the son when I was talking about them being so surprised by that game-winning touchdown. And I guess for me, after seeing that drive, it's like, you put your drink down, you pay the bill, and you walk out of the restaurant or the bar, and you're like, oof. Thank God I got Tom Brady on my team, huh? So my RBLR moment was that last drive, and also the Grayson Brady connection, something that no one would ever think of. Grayson has come from a very interesting past. This was not someone anyone would think would be catching passes from Tom Brady. So to see something like that happen, and to see the GOAT show everyone why he is the GOAT, it all worked out, and that's what is my RBLR moment. But speaking of RBLR, Stefan, I know you got some RBLR talk about our threads.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we encourage all of our listeners to head over to our RBLR shop at RBLRsports.com. We also link. We provide the link on the description of the podcast. Use promo code Cannons for 10% off. We have football, hockey, soccer, baseball, you name it, Tampa Bay, we got it. We would really appreciate if you could head over there and pick up some new threads to support our local teams.
All right, well, Stefan, let's get into it now with the Panthers preview, round 2, and also the final regular season chapter of the Buccaneers book for this 2021-2022 season. And the first thing I want to ask you, or kind of the elephant in the room, well, at least what I'm thinking is, the QB situation is looking very interesting to me for the Carolina Panthers because I'm thinking, is the head coach going to stick with Cam Newton after 4 straight losses? Or is he going to count on Sam Darnold now? So both of them interesting pass, both of them interesting performances, or actually I'm just going to say there was bad performances by both of them last time they played us. I'm just going to keep it real. Honestly, I'm going to tell you this QB little situation they got right now, Stefan, is looking very ugly to me. Right now, if I'm the head coach of the Panthers, I'm losing hair left and right. This is not looking good. But then again, I mean, oh well, listen, the last game or whatever, let's just put up a dogfight. Let's give it our all, blah blah blah, etc. But this is obviously something they're going to be thinking about for sure when it comes to the draft or at least the offseason. So I just want to say that, I mean, what are your thoughts about their kind of QB situation? What I want to know, Stefan, I'm just going to kind of summarize it like this: is there any chance that Darnold or Newton are going to do anything?
I would say it depends how healthy our defense is, but I don't think we're going to see a lot of Newton, Musab. I think we're going to see a lot of Darnold because they probably want to know what they have in him, and we're playing to win, so it's not like we're putting our backups in, but I don't think either of them will do a lot of damage if we go in there, I do fear Darnold a little bit more because he can actually, sling it down the field, and they got DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson who can, blow the roof off, especially Robbie Anderson. So I would say I would feel a little bit not worried, but I would definitely fear a little bit more Darnold before I fear Cam. I think Cam's run. This is probably his last NFL game as I see it. He had his nice moment in Carolina, and people gave him a nice standing ovation and everything. But I think he'll be joining Big Ben Roethlisberger in some retirement parties here soon.
Right on. No, I see what you're saying with that, and yeah, I guess maybe with the Cam Newton situation, he's kind of already been on a few strikes. But I guess yeah, maybe this is the chance to give Darnold a chance. But yeah, I don't know. For me, Stefan, I do very think that this game is going to be very similar to the last time we played him. Um, I mean, obviously, listen, someone is going to have to do something. All right. So, who, I don't know, honestly, but I'm really also not worried. I don't want to kind of continue on this little Bucks rant and just keep on acting super optimistic. But, hey, listen, I'm going to tell you this as well, Stefan. I mean, they got some injuries as well they're dealing with. Right now, Robbie Anderson is questionable. I mean, they got a few, like, they got a Dante Jackson, cornerback, is on IR, Cameron Irving, offensive tackle, IR. So they're dealing with some situation. Their defensive end, Gross Matos, is IR as well. Or in fact, he's out right now. He's on the COVID list. So to be playing a team we've kind of already run over, and to be playing a team that I don't see any really big threats overall, I'm not really overall worried. But what I want to know is if there is anyone that you may think could kind of, I don't know, shake up our defense or something, who would it be for you, Stefan?
If I would have to pick one, Musab, it'd probably be Robbie Anderson if Darnold's the one starting, or that their running back. I mean, the other the Jets just ran the ball on us, so I'm sure they're gonna try it. So we'll see how Hubbard does against us. I mean, if we have a lot of corners, I feel confident, and I think we will. That they don't have to get on a flight this week, thankfully. So I would probably say the running back Hubbard. I think Musab. That I just want to see how it looks because the Jets were able to run it. So why wouldn't the Panthers go ahead and try the same? And that way they control the pace of the game. You keep Tom Brady in the sideline. So we'll see. But my guess would probably be the running game just to see how it looks since people, I guess the Jets were able to run it on us. So
Yeah, I gotta agree with you on that, Stefan. I mean, for me, it is Hubbard and only Hubbard. But I want to know is I hope that no one kind of backs him up. That's what happened with the Jets. They kind of had like these three little mini Hubbards or whatever you want to call it. All right, they had three dudes who were kind of toying around with us, so it kind of throws you off when you're thinking about it. Like, oh my god, oh they put this guy in. Oh, they got this guy in now. It's like, oh okay, oh you throw in LeBron. Oh okay, LeBron subbing out for KD. Oh KD subbing out for Steph. It's like OMG. Or what are they gonna do to us now? They got their own little moves and everything. So the only thing I'm thinking is, first of all, uh, uh, I'm not extremely concerned, but if anyone will be concerning, I guess it might probably be Hubbard for me as well. I hope he doesn't kind of shake up our defense too much. But after what we kind of had this past weekend with the Jets and the fact that their running backs were able to play with us, that was embarrassing. I'm sure that kind of aggravated the defense slash woke them up slash told the coaching staff, hey, we got to make some changes around. We got to change the pace or here, this or that. So the big thing for me, with all that being said, I want to say that this is important for us, and I think this is going to help us more than ever, is because more preparation for the depth pieces. Stefan, what do you think?
Yeah, that will be the biggest part, right? I mean, how maybe Cyril Grayson now has earned a little bit of respect, for example, and he'll draw a better corner because all we have now is Mike and him, and then let's see what Anthony Nelson can do again. He's been looking pretty good, and he'll have his chances. And I really want to see Kevin Minter. He's got to play better because Levante is the only one that they're not so sure if he'll be ready for the first playoff game. So Kevin will probably have to go if Levante can't go, and he's got to look better. So that's what I'm looking for. More prep, more opportunities to be out there with the number one team. So we'll see how they look. But my eyes will be on Kevin Minter if I would have to pick one because I just didn't like what I saw last week at all. So we'll see how he performs. How about yourself?
I'm going to say this, Stefan. I think that one of these depth pieces, I'm thinking one guy from defense or one guy from offense, someone who's been helping us out a lot more this season than any other season in the past. So, maybe I'll think of someone like, maybe Nelson or, I mean, even Golson's been doing a great job in the past,
Yes.
but he's been really shining this season. But also, I want to say, I want to kind of maybe lean a little bit more towards our wide receiver unit. Stefan, I genuinely think that one of those guys on one of our depth pieces. Honestly, I really think that Grayson has a bright future. And the way I see this, Stefan, is sometimes it just comes down to a point where, listen, attitude reflects leadership. That means Arians and Brady and the rest of the, coaching staff that's, helps out these wide receivers or, puts them in. All right. And that what I'm trying to say is it's going to come down to a point where, hey, listen, yeah, Grayson's looking good because, yeah, whatever, he's a little backup. All right. Then it's going to come down to a time where, it might be, oh, snap, Grayson's a starter now. We're counting on him. And he's going to have his little ups and downs. But to see kind of everything he's been through and he's still kind of fighting and he's doing a phenomenal job with the roller coaster of a past he's had in his football career or just overall life career, um, it's honestly amazing. So my eye is on Cyril Grayson. I got a lot of high hopes for him. I think he may be like the Tyler Johnson of this season. I don't want to put Tyler Johnson as well. But I guess what I'm trying to say is, oh, that guy who kind of helped us out as well. Everyone, Godwin, OMG Evans, hey, AB, just because of the Stardom. All right, Gronk, just because of Gronk and Brady. But then who's the next guy? Well, for me, at least last year, it was Tyler Johnson coming in through, or Cameron Brake coming in through, or Ronald Jones coming in through here and there. So I think Cyril Grayson is going to be one of those people as well now. So I'll get off my little Grayson rant. I don't have any blank Player of the Year candidate awards for him just yet, but I don't see why he can't get one anytime soon.
It'd be awesome. It'd be awesome. He's playing really well. So we'll see. We'll see how he looks this week. I think he'll start drawing more attention. So that'll be interesting to see. When he goes against a little bit better corners. But he's been balling. And we need him to. So I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, we need him, and I'm excited that he's going to show up. But unfortunately, some people won't show up on the field. And this is our little Bucs RBLR injury report, and we're going to start obviously with Chris Godwin out. We got Aaron Stinney on IR right now. Got Ronald Jones currently right now. He is seen as questionable, dealing with an ankle injury. A little bit more optimistic vibes from what I've been hearing slash reading. Shaq Barrett is out. All right, right now we got Antoine Winfield is questionable. Jamel Dean, illness slash COVID. And we got playoff Lenny and David, Levante David, both on IR as well. Keyshawn Vaughn is also questionable, along with Ronald Jones, but this one is a rib injury. And our punter, Bradley Pinion, still currently questionable right now with COVID protocols. JPP right now we have been told is questionable, but I'm gonna say though is that look, playoff Lenny, Levante David, and Shaq Bear, they're all trending in the right direction to hopefully return for at least the first week of playoffs. But hey, listen, this is at least what we got right now. Things are gonna change. It's only Wednesday. We got a few more days. Some people are participating. For example, like Bradley Pinion is, participating in practice. So don't fully count on any of these questionables out just yet. But then again, just some things to consider for our last regular season game going against the Panthers. And that being said, Stefan, I mean, what are your overall thoughts? How are we feeling? A lot of guys out. This is the last game. How does all that make you feel?
Well, first of all, I hate anytime Musab you got to go down a lengthy report like this. This is not great. I do want to say I listened to and read some of the snippets from Bruce Arians' press conference before we hopped on today, and apparently Keyshawn Bonnet is questionable with a rib, but Bruce said it's nothing. The MRIs came back clean, so they're hoping he can go. I mean, at this point, we don't we don't have a lot of running backs either. Musab, it's him or Le'Veon Bell. So I'm hoping he can go because he's been a little bit longer than Le'Veon there, and it'll be helpful to have him. At least he knows the playbook. How is this going to affect us? I think we can still win this weekend, but obviously we got to start cleaning this injury report before next week when we host that first playoff game in Raymond James in 14 years. I hope to see Shaq, JPP, Winfield, Dean, all those guys. I mean, I'm hoping we see Lenny. Lenny would be huge if we could get him back for the playoff run. But I don't think any of these should be enough for us to, not win this game this upcoming weekend, Musab.
Praying for the best, hoping for the best, Stefan, but also taking this last regular season game as an opportunity to watch our depth pieces step up to the plate as much as they can and shine. It's just something just to, I guess, I don't know, maybe keep me entertained or whatever, but also to keep me fired up as well. All right. So, hey, listen, that being said, it's time to get fired up because, Stefan, who is your Mr. Fantasy?
Mr. Fantasy this week, I'm gonna go with Mike Evans. I think he'll have a humongous game to set that record again. I'm hoping we blow them out, Musab. So I'm hoping I see Mike Evans, look really good, get that record, and be able maybe in the third quarter ish get our starters out of the game when we have a big lead. So I'm gonna go with Mike. I know a lot of leagues either in the championship or almost done. So I'm gonna go with Mike as a clear starter this week, and I think you'll have a good day. How about yourself?
You got the little Mike Evans dynamic duo for RBLR and fantasy, but I'm gonna have to go with our defense. Um, I can't really name anyone specific, but I do want to say that it's just going to be a similar kind of game like last time we played them. I think it's going to be embarrassing, and I think the big thing that we're going to take from this is that they weren't able to handle our pressure on the QBs especially. But I'm also hoping that we just absolutely dominate the run game just to kind of redeem ourselves from this past weekend against the Jets. So that being said, yeah, my fantasy, Mr. Fantasy, is the Bucs defense. All right. And stay fired up, listeners, and stay fired up as well, Stefan, because now I want to know what's your game prediction like?
My game prediction, Musab, is I think the Bucks are going to blow them out, so I'm going to go 35-9. The Bucks win at home, going away, resting the starters in the second or probably third-ish quarter. Rest some of the starters, maybe get Brady out of there, get Evans out of there, and we start rooting for whoever needs to lose for us to get the number 2 seed, which I believe is the Rams. So we'll probably be rooting for the 49ers heavily while this game's going on so we can get that second seed and hopefully get 2 home playoffs games, Musab. That would be awesome. So I'm going to go with I think our defense is going to your point, bounce back and stop the run this week because it was sort of embarrassing last week. So and I think the offense is going to have no problem. So I'm going to go 35-9 at home, Tampa.
All right, all right. Great minds think 30 alike, Stefan, because for me, I'm thinking a 38-10 kind of game. I don't see them really doing much at all. Maybe they might rack up a touchdown, um, just because I guess maybe that's just part of the game. But overall, we're going to be dominant on the offense and the defense. So, yeah, 38-10 is going to be my final score.
Love that. We both got them winning, and get ready for that first home playoff game in a long, long time.
Hey man, I mean this is really it, Stefan. I mean I don't know. I guess just because for me, Stefan, we already had round one, and this is like a round two, and
Yeah.
I'm already kind of think for me I have a good idea of what the Panthers are. I think we all do. The fact two more prep for our depth pieces, I really don't see this being an ugly game for us at all. But I don't know what Stefan. You got any overall final remarks for this upcoming game against the Panthers?
Well, not really. I mean, I just don't want us to overlook them. Let's try to get this W, and it'd be huge to get this W, right? So I just really don't want to overlook them. I want for us to get that number 2 seed. It'd be awesome to get that number 2 seed and be able to play 2 games at home. So that being said, I'm hoping all our listeners enjoyed this one. I'm glad to be back. I hope I bring another W this week. So if, like always, listeners, we really appreciate your time. And if you could follow us at RBLR Sports on all the social media platforms, as well as like and subscribe in Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, you name it, we got it. And all the major podcast platforms, we really appreciate it. So Musab, I'll leave you with the last word, last regular season word, and go Bucs.
Yeah, last season regular word indeed it is. I'm gonna make it a little spicy. I apologize for my mediocre single line rhymes, but I'm gonna do a little double tonight. I'm gonna call this "We Gonna Stalk Our Prey" at Ray J, and we gonna shout "Hooray" at Ray J. And I think that's really about it. We're about to finish off this season with a strong win, and it's gonna be time for the Panthers to rot and decay. Psych! It was a little triple rhyme. And again, I apologize if you find these not good or mediocre. But hey, listeners, this is it. 4:25 p.m., the last chapter of the regular season. So you know what that means. Grab your mimosas or iced latte in the morning. Recharge in the PM. Get prepped with the snacks, the pizza, and most importantly, your Bucks gear. Whew, listeners, fans, Eureka, Stefan, all the RBLR team. What a roller coaster of a season it's been. And I want to say, I'm thinking, sheesh, time goes by so fast. It felt like yesterday we were getting hyped for the preseason. Preseason. So, listen, I want to keep it simple now. Listeners, life is too short. So have some fun this weekend, will ya? Because I know we will here at RBLR. Well, thanks again, everyone. And as always, go Bucs.
Thank you for tuning into this presentation by RBLR Sports. On your way out of the stadium, please remember to like and subscribe.